I was reading the email confirmation for the joint mortgage pre-approval we'd been celebrating just 2 days earlier when I heard her tell someone on the phone, "He doesn't need to know about this. It's my decision to make." Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. It was early June in Charlotte, North Carolina. That time of year when the humidity starts building and you know summer's really settling in. I'm 38, been working as a fleet operations manager for a regional transportation company for the past 7 years. Steady career, good benefits, the kind of job where organization and follow-through matter. I'd brought that same careful planning to my relationship with Diane. 5 years together, living together for the past 3 in a rented duplex in the Dilworth neighborhood. Diane is 34, works as a pharmaceutical sales rep covering the Carolinas territory. She travels for work maybe 1 week out of every month, visiting doctors' offices and hospitals. High energy, social, good at building relationships with clients. We've been talking seriously about buying a house together, and just this past Monday we'd gotten pre-approved for a joint mortgage, $380,000, enough to get us into a decent place in one of the neighborhoods we'd been eyeing. That Wednesday afternoon, I was working from home, finishing up some vehicle maintenance schedules at the dining table. Our laptop, the one we both used for personal stuff since we each had work computers, was open next to me. An email notification popped up in the corner of the screen. Subject line, Mortgage Pre-Approval Confirmation, Diane Foster and Nathan Reed. I clicked it reflexively. It was from our mortgage broker, summarizing the pre-approval we'd received Monday. $380,000 limit. For 0.2% interest rate pending final approval, good for 90 days. Everything looked standard until I got to the bottom of the email where it said, "As discussed, please remember that this pre-approval is contingent on both applicants maintaining current employment and debt ratios. Any major purchases or financial changes should be avoided during this period." I'd read that same disclaimer in the documents we'd signed Monday. Standard stuff. But what caught my attention was the email thread below the broker's message. Diane had replied to him yesterday, Tuesday afternoon, with a question I hadn't seen before. "Hi Tom, quick question. If one of the applicants wanted to make a large personal purchase, around $15,000, before closing, would that affect the approval? This would be from personal savings, not financed. Thanks, Diane." Tom's response, timestamped Tuesday evening. "Hi Diane. Yes. That could potentially affect the approval if it significantly changes your cash reserves or debt-to-income ratio. I'd strongly recommend waiting until after closing to make any major purchases. What are you considering?" Diane's response from this morning, Wednesday. "Got it. Thanks for the info. I'll hold off for now." I sat there staring at the screen. $15,000. That wasn't a small purchase. That was a used car, or high-end furniture, or I didn't know what. But the fact that she'd asked the broker about it without mentioning anything to me was strange. We'd been planning this house purchase together, pooling our savings for the down payment. Any major financial decision should have been a conversation. I was still processing this when I heard Diane's voice from the bedroom. She was on a call, her tone lower than usual, like she was trying to keep it private. Our duplex wasn't large. I could hear her clearly from where I sat. "No, I haven't told him yet," she was saying. I know. I'm just trying to figure out the right timing. It's complicated, Drew. He's not going to understand. Well, because he's going to see it as me choosing you over him, even though that's not what this is. I don't care what you think I should do. He doesn't need to know about this. It's my decision to make. Drew, her ex-boyfriend from her mid-20s. The guy she dated for almost 3 years before they broke up when she moved to Charlotte for work about 7 years ago. He'd stayed in Raleigh where they'd both lived. She'd mentioned him maybe twice in 5 years. Once when we drove through Raleigh and she pointed out a restaurant they used to go to. Another time when his name came up on a LinkedIn suggestion on her phone. Ancient history, I'd assumed. She was quiet for a moment, listening. Then, Friday night works. I can tell him I have that dinner with the regional team. Okay, I'll see you then. She ended the call. I heard her moving around in the bedroom. A few seconds later she emerged, looking relaxed, and smiled when she saw me. "Hey babe, didn't know you were home." "Finished early," I said evenly. "How's your day going?" "Busy. Lots of doctor's offices to hit this week." She grabbed a water from the fridge. "Oh, I have that regional sales dinner Friday night in Raleigh. Probably won't be back until late. Regional dinner. Yeah, quarterly thing. Kind of mandatory. She was scrolling through her phone, not really looking at me. Sounds important. It's networking mostly. Boring but necessary. She glanced up. You'll be okay on your own Friday night. I'll manage. Great. She disappeared back into the bedroom to change out of her work clothes. I sat there for a long moment, then opened the laptop again and reread the email thread with the mortgage broker. $15,000. Private phone call with her ex. A trip to Raleigh on Friday under the guise of a work dinner. I pulled up our joint savings account, the one we'd opened specifically to save for a house down payment. We'd been contributing to it for 18 months. Current balance, $42,300. My contributions were automatic transfers every 2 weeks from my paycheck. Hers were more sporadic, larger chunks when she got commission checks from big sales. I checked the transaction history. 2 weeks ago, she'd deposited $7,000, probably a quarterly bonus. But there was also a withdrawal from last Friday. $15,000, transferred to an account ending in numbers I didn't recognize. Not our joint checking, not her personal checking account that she'd shown me before when we were organizing our finances for the mortgage application. $15,000 withdrawn last Friday. The same amount she'd asked the broker about yesterday. I opened a new tab and searched our email for messages from the mortgage broker. Found the original pre-approval application we'd submitted 3 weeks ago. It listed both our accounts, including Diane's personal checking account ending in 4487. The withdrawal from our joint savings had gone to an account ending in 7293. She had an account I didn't know about. I heard Diane come back out to the kitchen. She was in sweats now, comfortable, starting to pull ingredients out for dinner. Want to make that pasta thing tonight? She asked. The one with the sun-dried tomatoes? Sure, I said. She started chopping vegetables, humming something under her breath. Completely at ease. I waited until Thursday morning after she left for her sales calls. Then I opened the laptop and started going through our joint finances with the methodical approach I used for fleet maintenance schedules. The joint savings account, $42,300 remaining, which represented about 60% of our target down payment. My contributions totaled roughly $31,000 over 18 months. Her contributions totaled about $26,000, but that was before the $15,000 withdrawal, which meant her net contribution was now only $11,000. The mortgage pre-approval was for a joint loan, both our names, both our credit scores, both our incomes factored in. But if she was pulling money out of our down payment savings for something she wouldn't tell me about, that fundamentally changed the equation. I called our mortgage broker, Tom. Hi, Tom. This is Nathan Reed. Diane Foster and I got pre-approved with you on Monday. Yes, Nathan. Congratulations. What can I help you with? I need to understand the process if one of the applicants wants to withdraw from the pre-approval. There was a pause. Is everything all right? Just want to understand the options. Well, since it's a joint application, either party can withdraw at any time before you actually make an offer on a property. The pre-approval would simply become void. If the remaining party wanted to continue, they'd need to reapply individually based on their sole income and assets. And if we'd already made an offer, then it gets more complicated. But since you haven't made an offer yet, withdrawing is straightforward. Do you need to make a change? I'm considering it. If I wanted to withdraw, what do I need to do? Just send me an email stating you want to withdraw from the joint pre-approval. I'll send you a confirmation and close out the file. And there's no penalty? No penalty. Pre-approvals aren't binding contracts. Got it. Thanks, Tom. I hung up and opened my email. Drafted a message to Tom. Hi, Tom. After further consideration, I'm withdrawing from the joint mortgage pre-approval with Diane Foster. Please confirm receipt and close out the application. Thanks, Nathan Reed. I read it 3 times. Then I sent it at 10:37 Thursday morning. Tom's response came within 20 minutes. Nathan, I've received your withdrawal request and have closed out the joint application file. If Ms. Foster wishes to pursue a mortgage independently, she'll need to submit a new application. Let me know if you have any questions. Best regards, Tom. Next, I pulled up our duplex lease. Both our names on it, running through August 31st. 3 months remaining. Month-to-month conversion available with 30 days notice after the lease term. But there was also a clause I'd forgotten about. Either party could provide 60 days notice to terminate early with forfeiture of half the security deposit. Our security deposit had been $1,800, split between us. Forfeiting half meant losing $900. Painful, but manageable. I started looking for apartments. Found a one-bedroom in Plaza Midwood, different neighborhood entirely, closer to my office. Available July 1st. Rent was $1,600 a month, lower than my half of the duplex. I scheduled a viewing for Thursday afternoon. The apartment was clean, well-maintained, good light, parking included. I filled out the application on the spot. The landlord called me back that evening. Application approved. First month and security deposit is $3,100 total. When can you move in? July 1st works perfectly. Great. I'll email the lease today. I signed it Thursday night and transferred the deposit from my personal account. Friday morning, Diane was getting ready for her trip to Raleigh. I watched her from the bedroom doorway as she packed an overnight bag, nicer clothes than she'd wear to a regional sales dinner. A dress I'd seen her wear on date nights. Heels. Staying overnight? I asked. She looked up. Oh yeah? The dinner usually runs late, and I don't want to drive back after drinks. I'll just get a hotel. Makes sense. I'll probably head out around 3 to miss traffic. Safe travels. She seemed surprised I wasn't asking more questions. Thanks. I'll text you when I get there. She left around 3:15 Friday afternoon. I waited 30 minutes, then started packing. Only my belongings. My clothes, my books, my kitchen equipment from before we moved in together. The furniture I'd brought, my desk, my bedroom set from my previous apartment, the TV I'd owned. I worked systematically, filling boxes I'd picked up from a moving supply store that morning. My brother lived across town and had offered to help when I'd called him Thursday night. He showed up Friday evening with his truck. We loaded the first round of boxes and my smaller furniture pieces. I'd rented a storage unit that afternoon, climate-controlled, month to month. We drove everything over and unloaded. Diane texted around 7, made it to Raleigh. Dinner starts at 8. Hope you're having a good evening. I texted back, glad you arrived safely. Saturday, I moved more items to storage. The furniture we'd bought together, couch, dining table, I left untouched. Her belongings I didn't touch at all. By Saturday evening, most of my personal items were gone from the common areas. The place looked noticeably emptier, but still functional. Sunday afternoon around 4, I heard Diane's key in the door. I was sitting in the living room with my laptop, reviewing some work schedules. She came in looking tired, carrying her overnight bag. Hey, she said. Then she looked around, her expression changing. What happened to the bookshelf? I moved it. Where? Storage. She set her bag down slowly. Why? Because I'm moving out. Her face went pale. What are you talking about? I withdrew from the mortgage pre-approval. I signed a lease on a new apartment. I gave notice on this place. I'm leaving. Nathan, what? Why would you? She was stammering, which was unusual for someone who made their living talking to doctors. I know about Drew. I know about Friday night. I know about the $15,000. The color drained completely from her face. How do you? You left the laptop open Wednesday. I saw the email thread with Tom about making a large purchase. I heard your phone call with Drew about not telling me. I saw the withdrawal from our joint savings to an account I didn't know you had. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. You were spying on me. I was using our shared laptop in our shared home. You weren't exactly being careful. You had no right to read my private emails. The mortgage broker emails were addressed to both of us. And your phone call wasn't exactly quiet. She switched tactics. Nothing happened with Drew. We're just friends. Friends who you're hiding from me. Friends you're taking $15,000 to see. Friends you're lying about work dinners to meet. It's not like that. Then what is it like? She fumbled for words. Drew is going through a hard time financially. He needed help. I was lending him money. $15,000. He's going to pay me back. From the savings account we set up for our house down payment. It's my money. I put it in there. And then you took it out to give to your ex-boyfriend without telling me, while we're in the middle of getting pre-approved for a joint mortgage. Do you understand how that looks? I was going to tell you. When? Before or after we bought a house together? I just needed to handle it first. And Friday night? Was that about his financial problems too? Her expression cracked. We met for dinner. That's all. We needed to talk about the loan. At a restaurant you used to go to together. While lying to me about a work event. Because I knew you'd react like this. Like someone who expects honesty from their partner? Yeah, guilty. She started crying. Nathan, please. You're blowing this out of proportion. Drew needed help. I helped him as a friend. That doesn't mean anything about us. It means you prioritized him over me. It means you lied to me. It means you made a major financial decision without me while we're supposed to be building a future together. That tells me everything I need to know. We've been together 5 years. And you just showed me how little that means when your ex-boyfriend needs something. That's not fair. Neither is taking our down payment money to bail out your ex. She was fully crying now. What about the house? We were going to buy a house. You can still buy one. You'll just need to reapply for a mortgage on your own. Good luck getting approved for $380,000 on just your income. I can't afford that alone. Should have thought of that before you withdrew 15 grand from our savings. Where am I supposed to live? You can stay here through August if you want. After that, you'll need to figure it out. Nathan, please. Let's talk about this. I made a mistake. I should have told you about Drew needing help. But I was trying to help a friend. By lying to your partner. I wasn't lying. You told me you had a work dinner. You want to meet your ex-boyfriend. That's the definition of lying. She tried a different approach, her voice getting smaller. I love you. I want to buy a house with you. I want to build a life together. This thing with Drew was it was a one-time thing. He needed help. That's all. Okay. That's all you have to say. What else do you want me to say? That you'll give me a chance to fix this. There's nothing to fix. You showed me your priorities. I'm adjusting mine accordingly. You're really going to throw away 5 years over this. You already threw it away. I'm just handling the paperwork. I could see her cycling through emotions. Panic, anger, disbelief. Finally, she said, when are you leaving? Most of my stuff is already in storage. I'll get the rest over the next few weeks. I move into my new place July 1st. Just like that. Just like that. She grabbed her bag and went into the bedroom, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frame. Over the next 2 weeks, I finished moving my remaining belongings in stages. I was methodical about it, photographing the apartment before removing each item, keeping receipts for everything. I updated my address with my employer, bank, insurance. I transferred utilities into Diane's name effective July 1st with confirmation emails. Diane tried multiple approaches. Monday, she gave me the silent treatment. Tuesday, she left a note on the counter. Can we please have one real conversation about this? I texted back. I've said what I needed to say. Wednesday evening, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was Drew. Hey Nathan, it's Drew. Look, Diane is really upset, and I feel like I should explain. The money was a loan for a business investment. Nothing romantic is going on between us. We really are just old friends. Maybe we could talk. I deleted the message and blocked the number. Thursday, Diane's sister Kimberly called me. Nathan, hi. Diane asked me to call. Hi, Kimberly. She's really torn up about this. Can you please tell me what happened? That's between Diane and me. She said you're leaving because she helped an old friend financially. That's one version. Mine includes the lying and the secret meetings and the taking money from our joint savings without discussion. Oh, pause. I didn't know about all that. I'm not surprised. Look, I know Diane can be impulsive sometimes, but she really does love you. I'm sure she does. But it's not enough. Can't you try counseling or something? No, I've made my decision. Nathan. Kimberly, I appreciate the call, but I'm done. I hung up and blocked her number too. Friday evening, I got an email from Diane. Subject, please read this. The message was long, explaining how Drew had come to her with a business opportunity that needed quick funding, how she'd panicked about mentioning it to me because she knew I'd want to vet it thoroughly, how she'd convinced herself it was fine to just handle it quietly, how she'd realized during dinner with Drew that she'd made a terrible mistake, how she'd told Drew she couldn't see him anymore, how she wanted to fix things with me, how nothing romantic had happened. I read it once. Then I set up an email filter to send her messages to a folder I wouldn't check. July 1st, I moved into my new apartment in Plaza Midwood with help from my brother and a coworker. Everything transported in about 3 hours. I did a final walkthrough of the duplex. Diane was staying with her sister for the weekend and took comprehensive photos. My new place was smaller, quieter, completely mine. I set up my desk facing the window that looked out over a small courtyard. Started going to a different gym in my new neighborhood. Picked up a running group that met Tuesday and Thursday mornings, something I'd wanted to do but never had time for. Life reorganized itself around the space Diane used to occupy. Late July, I ran into Diane's colleague Marcus at a coffee shop near my office. We'd met a few times at company events. Nathan, hey, how are you? Doing well. You. Good, good. He hesitated. I heard about you and Diane. Sorry, man. These things happen. Yeah. Another pause. I don't know if I should mention this, but Drew apparently never invested that money in any business. He used it to pay off gambling debts. Diane found out when he asked for more money last week. She's pretty devastated. I absorbed that information. That's unfortunate. She thought he was being honest about the business opportunity. She thought wrong. You handling things okay? Better than okay, actually. He looked at me curiously. You seem really at peace with everything. I am. Turns out making decisions based on self-respect leads to peace. We talked for a few more minutes about neutral topics, then parted ways. I thought about what he'd said while I walked back to my office. Drew had used her. The money was gone. And Diane had sacrificed her relationship and her house plans for someone who'd lied to her. There was probably a lesson in there about trusting the wrong people and making choices based on old loyalties instead of current reality. I didn't feel vindicated, just confirmed in my decision. August arrived with typical Carolina heat. I took a long weekend and drove to the mountains, stayed in a cabin near Asheville, hiked, read, ate at good restaurants. Came back feeling clear and rested. The following Tuesday evening, I was at a bookstore in my neighborhood, browsing the history section, when I heard my name. Nathan. I turned. Diane was standing there with a basket of books, looking thinner than I remembered. Her hair was shorter, different style. Diane. Hi. I didn't know you came here. I live nearby now. Right? Of course. She shifted her weight. How are you? I'm good. You? I'm managing. Work is busy. That's good. Awkward silence. Then she said, I heard about Drew. About the gambling debts. Marcus mentioned something. Yeah. Turns out he lied about everything. The business opportunity was never real. I'm sorry that happened. Are you? Yeah. I am. I didn't want you to get used. I just didn't want to be collateral damage while you figured it out. She nodded slowly. That's fair. Pause. I moved. Got a smaller place in South End. The duplex was too expensive alone. I hope it's working out. It's fine. Smaller. Lonelier. She looked at me directly. I miss you, Nathan. I'm sorry you're lonely. Is there any chance? No. You don't even know what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. Whatever it was, the answer is no. We were together 5 years. Don't you think that deserves a conversation? We had conversations. Multiple times. I was clear about my boundaries. You chose to cross them anyway. I made a mistake. You made a choice. You chose to lie to me, take our savings, and prioritize your ex-boyfriend. Those were deliberate decisions, not mistakes. Her eyes filled with tears. I thought I was helping someone. You were. Just not me. I've learned from this. I know I handled everything wrong. Good. Take that into your next relationship. There isn't going to be a next relationship. I want you. You should have thought about that before. She wiped at her eyes. How can you just turn it off like this? 5 years together, and you're just done? I'm not turning anything off. I'm choosing not to be with someone who showed me they'll lie and make major decisions behind my back when it suits them. That's self-preservation, not coldness. I really did love you. Past tense. Yeah, I believe you. She stood there like she was waiting for something more. An opening, maybe. A softness. I didn't give it to her. I should let you get back to your shopping, she said finally. Take care of yourself, Diane. You too, Nathan. She walked toward the checkout counter without looking back. I watched her go for a moment, then turned back to the history section and pulled a book I'd been eyeing. I checked out, drove home to my quiet apartment, made dinner, and sat by the window watching the evening light fade over the neighborhood. The life I'd built now was simpler, cleaner, completely under my control. I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt right. When someone shows you they're willing to deceive you to maintain a connection with their past, do you believe their explanations or their actions? Share your thoughts in the comments below.